What advice would you give the 20-year-old version of yourself?
I think the biggest advice I could give myself is effort is everything. And you can decide, are you putting in the most amount of effort that you can? Because on days I can only give 60% and I give 60%, I give 100. The question is not how do you develop the motivation to keep going? The real question is how do you develop the discipline to do the stuff you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it?
And it's gonna cost you something. It's gonna cost you more time than you thought you'd have. It's gonna cost you some friends who couldn't make the entire journey with you. But if you sign up for the inconvenience, then the goal will take care of itself. Every day say yes to whatever it takes, no matter what.
The major key to your making things happen in your life is you.
My truth and my experience has been I have to jump higher, I have to show up earlier, I have to be the first person to turn off the light and the last person to turn off the light. The way that I show up is by being consistent, so consistent that people cannot doubt your capacity to succeed. You have to work harder than the average person.
Now, don't get me wrong, I still have my bad days. I'll be like, I hate this sucks, this is terrible, but I'm still doing it. You know, that's the problem. If you're gonna complain, I'm not saying to not complain. I'm saying to complain and do it. That's all I care about.
During that point, what did I do? Is I did what I preach to all of you, which is I put in the work. You want the secret? It's called work. You have to figure out what you're trying to achieve and what you want, and then you need to put in the work that maps to that ambition.
You always want to blame other people. You want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you?
Don't cry to quit. You already in pain, you already hurt. Get a reward from it.
It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you don't take any objection or disappointment or defeats personally, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. Say this to yourself every day. It's not over until I win. You got that right.
Motivation plays a huge role, but I'm a big believer that motivation comes after action. Okay, so stick with me. Motivation comes after action. The question is not how do you develop the motivation to keep going? The real question is how do you develop the discipline to do the stuff you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it? Floss one tooth. Go to the gym and lift one weight one time. Then you can stop. Then you can go home. Then you can stop. More than likely, because you already got there, because you already started, you're going to finish. Getting there is the majority of the issue. The discipline to start, that's what you need. The motivation to keep going comes after the action to start. So on those days you don't feel like it, if you know you need to, you have to.
Do I think you could be a success without being consistent? Perhaps, if you have other resources and tools that I was never given, but coming from where I am, my perspective has only been consistency, and the discipline has been everything that I have ever gotten on the back of doing it again and again and again. It is what I teach, it is what I preach, it is what I believe.
That's what a lot of people do, is they try and attack a big goal with intensity instead of consistency. They try and just go. They're like, okay, Monday, I'm gonna go get fit. I'm gonna do 2 hours of cardio. I'm gonna eat only chicken, brown rice, and broccoli 6 times a day. I'm gonna do... You've never done that before, 1. And 2, you know that's not sustainable. You can't outdo the need for time and consistency. Intensity still has its place, don't get me wrong, but misplaced intensity, I feel, is the #1 reason why people fail their goals. And that's not just fitness. That's with business, that's with everything. Instead of just adding intensity, you have to be consistent over time. Not consistent for 2 days, not consistent for 2 weeks, over time. You know, if you do the work, you will more than likely get there.
So the physics of progress is you come up with a hypothesis. It should be as informed as possible. You figure out a way to turn that into something you can actually do. So you're going to run a test. Then you actually run that test. And then this is where most people fall down. You have to lower your psychological defenses to stare nakedly at the results. And oftentimes that's going to be you didn't do something well, you didn't think through this right, you made a mistake somewhere. And then if you're willing to do that and you learn from that, then you can re-inform your hypothesis, make it a little bit better, run that whole system again. And once you get in that loop, then you can really make progress. The tenacity it takes to face your inadequacies and continue to try, that's where we've succeeded.
I cannot tell you the number of businesses I've had that have failed, but I learned from it. And it gave me the wisdom to go on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And so when you focus on your personal growth, what happens is that even if a business fails, even if an idea fails, you emerge from it with new knowledge, new data points, a new version of yourself that can do better on the next idea or the next business.
People hear that jump in the net will appear, jump in like the universe has your back, and we love it. We're like high-fiving because we've been on the other side. But like there have been plenty of times where there was no net and like the universe was just like, I see you, I'm not putting my arms out, because you needed to fall on your face. And like I've just realized that as many times as I have gotten back up, I was supposed to fall. I was supposed to face plant. And the less time I spend groveling in the gravel, the faster I find my next success. The biggest difficulty is that people fall and then they stay down. The greatest entrepreneurs are the people who understand that falling is part of the process. So if we just said, I'm going to fall now and I'm going to fall probably another 175 times before the end of my career, if I look around and say, this is normal and every entrepreneur faces this, then yeah, it sucks. And yeah, I took the jump. And yeah, I didn't end up where I wanted to, but do I have the courage and wherewithal to get up again? And if the answer is yes, you're going to be in business. And the answer is no, you're going to go back to your cubicle and live a very predictable life that is not as fulfilling as you once hoped.
Most people can only see these are the 152 ways that this could go wrong. And we started doing that to say, no matter how outrageous, there is a way to pull this off. So what would need to be true for this to work? Stop telling me all the things that aren't going to work. Tell me the thing that is going to work. And once you get to that, you're, okay, well, if we did X, Y, Z, it would work. Okay. Now, are we willing to do that, yes or no? And if we're not, is there another thing that we are willing to do? But at least now we're operating from a position of that would work, and successful people are about that. I never know if I'm right, and I go all out every fucking time. And I'm just trying to make it happen. And so I have the courage of conviction to say, I know about myself. I will keep going until I figure this out. Not that I already understand everything, that I have the courage to figure this out. I'm not telling you I already understand everything, but I am telling you I will not stop fighting until we get to the other side. So if you can manage your emotions, if you've got the courage to fight through that storm, if you're not easy to knock off your pedestal and you're humble enough to know that you're almost certainly making mistakes so that you know when to correct course, that's the recipe.
When life gets busy, pause, take a deep breath, download Mindset, and listen to your favorite inspirational speeches to unlock your full potential.